Outback Australia, an unforgiving territory and a land of amazing creatures, where sometimes nature needs a helping hand. These are the everyday heroes bound by a single mission: to save wildlife anywhere, anytime. In this episode of Outback Wildlife Rescue, a crocodile that sinks like a stone. But swim school's in. One of the world's strangest creatures, fighting for life.
I think she's been spurred by another platypus. She's got another hole in her stomach.
And can emergency surgery save this expectant mother hit by a car? Australia's wildlife is as diverse as its landscape, from the tropical Queensland coast to the Northern Territory and monsoonal Darwin and the nearby Kakadu wetlands, and on 1,500 kilometres to the red deserts of Alice Springs and beyond. The Australian Wildlife Hospital treats every animal equally. But truth is, some seem extra special.
Where'd he come from?
Just over the border at Yukai, and one of the carers down there, Jenny, picked him up and he was just found on the bridge, huddled over, and it's one of the areas where the creeks are really overflowing. He was really cold last night.
Okay, sweetheart.
This is a baby platypus.
He's been sleeping fairly soundly.
Come on, sweetie. You're having such a good sleep there too, weren't you? On the heat pad too.
Platypus live in burrows by rivers and lakes, coming out mainly at night to swim and hunt for food.
Look at you, hey?
They're so strange, early scientists saw specimens and thought they were a hoax. Duck's bill, beaver tail, and then the really unusual stuff. They lay eggs, but suckle their young. Platypus and echidnas are the only species to do that. It looks like this little girl was washed out of Mum's burrow in recent heavy rains.
But because we've had these torrential rains that have actually overflowed rivers, a lot of baby platypus unfortunately would have drowned. She's been one of the lucky ones where she's actually been found, but there'd be hundreds or possibly thousands of others that would have died this season.
Another day or so, and this platypus would have died too from starvation. As it is, her survival will be touch and go.
She's lost a lot of her body condition. The tail's quite thin. We measure these guys, their body health and their overall fitness and fatness by their tail, and you can see it's quite concave and it's quite thin here. So normally we do a measurement and her tail really should be like this at this age. Oh, big yawn. Did I wake you up? I'm terribly sorry. Her eyes are still a little bit sunken as well. She's very, very thin.
Her condition is already poor, but Gail is about to discover this platypus is hiding another problem. She's been through far more than meets the eye. The platypus is an example of how people have a way of playing favourites with nature. If it's pretty or cute, it's hard not to love. Even the fiercest crocodiles get a grudging admiration. But snakes, well, snakes do it tough in the PR stakes. And they see the results of that all too often at Darwin's Ark Animal Hospital.
I just had this dropped off. He's been hit by a car.
Okay.
A bit messy.
Let's have a look. Okay, so it's a water python. Did they say whether they knew whether she'd been run over or anything like that?
Yeah, I think they saw the person ahead of them run over and, you know, did the whole swerve tip snake trick. And
Oh, that's lovely.
Water pythons are non-venomous and common across the tropics. This one's lucky to still be alive after being deliberately run over by a snake-hating driver.
Yeah, you can see all this nasty grazing here. She's obviously been rolled by the car and it's taken the top layer of all this skin off. So she's certainly been clobbered.
The grazers are just the tip of the iceberg. Stephen has his suspicions the python might be facing much bigger issues.
Okay, now this is a way of telling whether it's a boy or a girl. Basically, we're just going to probe it, and it's a girl, so it's because this is only going down a short way. If it was a boy, it would go quite a long way down, which is down to about there.
It's a worry that she's female. This is breeding season, and if she's carrying eggs, they might have been ruptured by the car. And sure enough, she is.
She's got quite a number of eggs there, and some of them look ruptured.
Those eggs are bad news. Left untreated, they could potentially kill the python.
When eggs rupture, they burn the inside of the snake. They're quite irritant, and so it's likely to cause her a serious problem. So by surgery is the only way we can get them out, so we'll need to do a caesarean.
Crocodiles are part of the furniture in the top end. They've cruised the waterways unchanged for thousands of years. Truth be told, the standard human reaction to them is a very healthy fear, not affection. But some people love them. Reptile wrangler Chris PEBERDY does.
Hey little girl, it's time for your swimming lesson.
He takes a personal interest in their development, and Stampy is his latest project. She's had a rough time.
How are you this morning? This is Stampy. Now Stampy's actually about 4 years old and she's a saltwater crocodile. She was actually sold as a pet to a person in a Darwin suburb. Unfortunately, the person had her there didn't keep her very well, and lucky for Stampy, she escaped. And she turned up crossing a children's crossing in a local primary school. When we got her, she was quite emaciated. She had complete muscle wastage. She was in dire straits. I don't think she actually had eaten the whole time since she left the croc farm. So it was, she was in a really bad way.
Chris nursed her back to health, but that bad diet while she was younger meant Stampy's muscles didn't develop. And for a crocodile, that means a whole world of problems.
Because of her muscle wastage, she actually couldn't swim, which is a scary thing considering crocodiles are born with the handbook that teaches them how to swim. But she had the knowledge, but just purely not the strength or muscle tone to be able to do it.
So, Chris being Chris, he's made it his personal mission to teach young Stampy to swim.
Go on, Stamp, let's go off in the pool.
Chances are Stampy will drown on her own. Chris is going to have to get in there with her.
Let's get her out.
He's going, baby girl.
Stephen and Lisa are about to carry out emergency surgery on the water python. She's been run over by a car, and some of the eggs inside her could be crushed and become toxic. Water pythons actually live on land,
You're starting to feel it now.
but they like to be close to water because it draws in their prey. Round here, their main diet is rats, which they catch and constrict.
Because she's asleep now, she's much more relaxed, so you can get a better feel through her abdominal wall. And yeah, there's a sort of an egg every sort of 10 centimetres or so.
Unlike other snakes, pythons stay with their eggs after they're laid. They coil around them and generate warmth by shivering. But these eggs have to come out.
With reptiles, you actually have to cut in between the scales, so it's a little bit of a zigzag pattern to start off with. So you just got to pick up each of these scales and sort of cut in between them. The eggs are probably from about here to about here, and we've got to milk them down so that we can get them out of the incision. Each of those eggs will be probably about that sort of size, and we've just got to get it out.
Gail's still examining the little platypus. She's weak and dehydrated, and after so long exposed to the elements, might have developed pneumonia.
She's got a little bit of a wheeze in her left lung, so I'll just have a chat to John. I've been very, very privileged to be one of the lucky ones that's actually got to look after them. They have these amazing little hands that when they're swimming, they spread out and enable them to go through the water quite quickly. When they're digging their burrows, they can actually fold this back, or when they're walking along even, and then they can use their claws for digging. They also have the most amazing bills, which is, I think, the best possible part of them. They're amazingly soft. Hers is a little bit rough because she's been doing it hard out there, but these bills are so soft. It's actually like baby skin, like a newborn's skin. It's really, really soft.
That soft bill is the platypus's main hunting tool. They dive down to the riverbed and snuffle about with their eyes closed. The bill's so sensitive, it can detect the tiny electrical charges given off by the creatures they eat.
They have these little cheek pouches. They store food in there and eat it later on. And when they're actually full and when they've been eating, they look like little chipmunks. Just like the cartoons, they swell up like these little big cherries on either side of their face, and it's really cute.
Not so cute are the spurs on their hind legs. In females, they're harmless, but the males carry a venom that can inflict a painful wound.
She's got quite a bit of an infection going on in there.
It seems this one might have been attacked.
I think she's been spurred by another platypus. She's got another hole in her stomach.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she's probably got in the waves of an adult and gone into his or her territory accidentally, more likely his because the girls don't tend to spur, so.
She's had a tough time for such a young platypus. Those wounds are deep and infected, but Gail is determined to save her. Stephen's ready to remove the water python's eggs.
And so you can see straight in onto the egg, so we'll cut through there and milk out that egg and all the others. Some people might be surprised that I treat snakes. I know a lot of people who think that the only good snake is a dead snake. Snakes are animals too. They are fantastic creatures, they're beautifully designed. They're an important part of the environment.
Good size.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see that the egg is really soft. They're not like bird eggs at all. They've got a really soft, squidgy membrane. They're not hard at all. It looks quite a reasonable egg, so there's a reasonable chance it might hatch.
If any of the eggs have ruptured, it could prove fatal for the python. And there's a lot to check.
Water pythons usually have about 15 to 20 eggs, and so we'll need to remove all of those to make sure that none of them are going to cause her a problem.
Heart rate's going strong.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So.
In the end, Mum was carrying 16 eggs, and fortunately none had ruptured. 2 were malformed, but the rest stand a chance of survival.
The 14 we'll send off to an incubator, someone who's got a little bit of experience at hatching, and we'll give them a chance. We like to give everything a chance if we can, and eggs are no different.
With those eggs removed, Mum has a chance now too. Swim class is in at crocodile wrangler Chris PEBERDY's place. Young Stampy's muscles never developed. She swims like a brick. What she needs is some one-on-one instruction, and Chris is up for the challenge.
She gets tired and unfortunately can't stay on the surface, and it's not a controlled descent. Crocodiles do go quite deep underwater, but she goes under and panics and can't get back up.
You can imagine for a crocodile this is a bit of a problem, and she'd last about 1 minute in the wild. But Chris aims to fix that.
This is part of her physiotherapy, is just swimming, just taking her and guiding her through the pool. Unfortunately, she can't swim for prolonged periods on a time, and she tends to sink. So I just need to keep an eye on her, support her. Oh, she's sinking now.
Crocodiles are perfectly designed for swimming. They get all their power from their tails. Their feet are just used for balance. But Stampy's tail is too weak, and she ends up using her claws to drag her way along. She gets very tired very quickly.
You get tired already? She doggy paddles. It's actually quite unusual that she actually uses her legs to paddle where she's got this big muscle down the back, which is her propeller, but she doesn't seem to use it that much.
About now, you're entitled to ask, isn't this just a little risky? Stampy's small, but she's still a crocodile. And there's every opportunity to give Chris a nasty chomp if she chooses.
Because of the constant human contact she's had while she was recovering and through the recovery process, she's actually quite quiet. Normal saltwater crocodiles are not this quiet. One day she may turn, and that's a risk you do take. But I think through passive gestures and passive body language with the animal, you can actually get them to react the same. It's funny to say that I do trust her, but a lot of people don't believe me on that.
In fact, they seem to have become quite attached to each other.
You can see now she's got her mouth open there. That's just a thermoregulating. It's not an aggressive thing. It's just the sun's out, and that's the way she keeps her brain cool. Her brain's just located up here, and that's just letting airflow go under and above. So although it looks quite defensive, it's actually not. She's quite relaxed. She's got no weight on her arms. You can see they're loose. So she's just basking here. She's just using me as a log. Not many people would find a crocodile that do that, or not many crocodiles would find a person that would do this. So, yeah, no, she's good. Come on, let's go do another lap.
Chris has come through the lesson unscathed, and Stampy's that little bit closer to swimming like a real crocodile. Truth is, she might never make it back to the wild, but she'll be better prepared if she ever does.
Well, that's about enough for you today. Come, we'll give you a wash and then we'll give you a chicken.
Gail's still weaving her magic on the little platypus. She's in a bad way after being washed out of her burrow and apparently attacked by another platypus further downstream. As far as wounds go, these are not good.
See the pus coming out now?
They're deep and infected, and that's not all.
Oh, look. Here they come.
No wonder she's feeling poorly.
Maggots. Okay, sweetie, this is going to feel a little bit funny. Sorry, sweetie. Good girl. Stings a bit, doesn't it? Kill all those nasty maggots in there.
With the wounds cleaned, they'll take a look at her chest. She's wheezing, and it could be pneumonia. To keep her still for the X-ray, she'll need to be asleep.
It's clear enough to show us that the lung fields are clear, which is good. We certainly don't have a chronic or severe pneumonia, because Gail said she heard a bit of a wheeze, but like I say, there's certainly no severe or chronic pneumonia there, so that's good.
It's great news for the little platypus. Despite everything, she's in better shape than Gail feared.
Okay, so now we'll just wake her up, and in about an hour we'll give her a feed of some milk, which will make her feel better, because you can see by the x-rays the stomach's quite empty. And hopefully she'll be all right.
Now, the challenge is nursing her back to health. The baby platypus is well and truly back in the land of the living.
Come on, sweetie.
Gail's given her a name, Hannah.
Food. See how you go, hey?
And she's also about to give her her first decent meal in more than a week.
Okay, sweetheart. This is all going to be new for you, but you're going to love it in a couple of days, let me tell you. There you go, sweetie. How's that? It's a bit different for you, isn't it? Not like Mum. This is the best feeder I've ever had. How good is that? It is. She knows exactly what it's for. They're really amazing. Within a couple of days, the minute that you put them on the towel, And they see the tube coming, they'll actually snatch the tube out of your hands and place it in their mouths themselves. They're really quick, yeah. Good girl. How much was that? 5 mils. Excellent. Does that feel better? I'm going to have a big sleep now. Yeah, have a big sleep now. She's not well, obviously, and she's a bit underweight, but Hannah's certainly not the worst one I've seen, and I'm really hopeful that she will go for release in a couple of months' time, and that'll be fantastic.
All being well, Hannah will live 10 healthy, free years back in the wild. The water python's last encounter with a human was being deliberately run over by a car. That was a month ago, but she survived, a little battered and minus her eggs.
I reckon this looks like the spot. Let's put it down here.
And you're keen, aren't you, girl? Hey, baby?
Yeah. What do you reckon? You ready to go?
The fate of her eggs is still uncertain. They take 50 days to incubate, but Mum is ready to go now.
This is the surgery site. That's where the eggs were removed, and that's healed up nicely. So, hey, you're looking good. Looking ready for release. This is a very exciting day. I love water pythons. They're fantastic critters. It's always good to be able to release them and return them back to their natural habitat. And she's obviously very keen. She's definitely ready to go. There you go. There you go. Doesn't she look fantastic?
With luck, she'll stay away from Rose and will breed again next year.
It's a funny thing. I don't think we should be sad when we release anything, but there's always a moment or two when something goes where you're a bit sad, because no matter what it is, you've had some sort of a relationship with it. I think you feel sad for your own loss because they enrich your life while they're there and then they disappear.
She gets tired and all you want to do is get out, isn't it? No, not cheating. There's days when I wish I could speak crocodile.
You're by yourself, you're swimming a platypus at 2 o'clock in the morning. How good is that?